So one of the big reasons why I started my channel was to help people afford skiing better. And so I thought as I prepare to go on my big trip out west that I would just show everybody what I'm wearing this year, what I'm using this year, and what the total cost breakdown is. Some of the stuff I've had for a lot of years, some of the stuff might be new, but I thought I would break it down. So starting with my socks, I think it's really, really important to have really good ski socks. I like the Smartwool ski sock. That's just the super thin one. I think it's better to have a tighter, more complete contact with your boot. You don't want a very thick sock. I think that then your heel can ride around. And then with I get these, I go to Sierra and I get them, like they'll have irregulars. I don't really care if the pattern is irregular, it's on my foot. I haven't seen any difference in the structure and the feel of an irregular pair of these socks. And so I can usually get irregulars for under $20, maybe $14 to $18. If not, they're probably somewhere around 30 bucks. I like to have 2, 3, 4 pairs, but you can get away with just having maybe 1 pair, 2 pair. So right there, we'll say $18. You can get irregulars. The next thing is my base layer, what I wear. I tend to be really warm always, like even when it's really cold. And so if you go 32 heat is like a brand that Costco has, you can get 2 of these long johns for like $20. And what I do is I cut them. It's not that pretty, but I don't want anything to go below into my ski boot except for my sock. So I just take a scissor and cut them. I don't feel too bad because they're really cheap. These have lasted me 4 or 5 years. So to me, it's a great deal. You get 2 pairs for $20. So right there, say if you only get 1 pair, we'll still say it's $20. So right now we're doing pretty good with cost. I've had a lot of base layers. I found that my favorite base layer is by Spyder Active. I got this at Marshall's, and I think I got it for like $14. I love this so much. I've looked for another one of this exact brand on like eBay. I just got it in blue, but this is great. It's really soft. It's really lightweight. It's quarter zip. I usually just wear like a comfortable t-shirt underneath this, and then I'm good to go. If it is really super cold, like under like 5 below or something, I might wear a secondary base layer. And you can get these, just something simple. They usually come in like a 1 or a 2 pack. You can get these for, 20 bucks for 2 off of Amazon. But I don't find that I need that most days. That's just if it's really, really cold. One thing, if you're over 40, when we look at football, we see all the offensive linemen, they all have knee braces on. We're like, why do they do that? It's preventative. I got these, they're copper fit. Obviously, Brace Layer, all these other companies make really good knee protection. But as I get older and I want to still ski aggressively, I just find that there's a peace of mind with these. I also got these at Costco. You get 2 for 20 bucks. I think it's really safe to just do that. Now getting into really what I wear. So I wanted to get a decent ski suit, top and bottom, and not really spend so much money. So I did the eBay route. A lot of people are against eBay, but I think if you're really smart and you really do your homework, you can get a good deal. I got these. These are the North Face High Vent ski pants. They're very heavy. They weigh like 3.5 pounds. They're insulated, double layered. They have a really durable shell on the outside. I've had these for years. There is some fraying down at the bottom, but I think that's going to happen with anything. But it's underneath the stitch, the double stitch. So I don't think that's really anything that's a big deal. And with these, I got these for $31 on eBay with shipping. I think that's a pretty darn good price. So if you look at the right times of the year, maybe in the summer or whatever, you can get a really good deal. I got these, they were slightly used, like they've been used like 1 or 2 days. So that was a great deal, 30 bucks. Then I got my jacket. When I first started skiing again, I went through a few jackets. I got one on Amazon. It was just really good at being warm, but it wasn't good at cooling me down at all. And I got this jacket. It's a High Vent series. it's a two-in-one. I love it. When I usually wear it, I actually usually take out the puffer and I zip the puffer up so it's warmer and it feels lighter when the puffer is on me and it's not connected to the jacket. And then on really warm spring days, I don't even wear the puffer and I just wear the jacket. This one's great. It has the sleeve, pocket for my RFID badge and everything else, and has a few pockets on it. I've had this for 5 years. I take care of it. I only wear it when I ski, and it looks like it's pretty much brand new. I think that if you can take care of your stuff, you can last a long time. But as you can see, I got this for $125, and then I think with shipping it was like $145, and it's usually it was usually $349. And if you look at now at the North Face jackets that are brand new, I mean, you're looking $400 or $500. So North Face isn't the greatest brand. I mean, it's not going to be like, you know, the highest end, but I think it's pretty good. Maybe Helly Hansen is a similar brand. You can find deals with slightly used things. This had the tags on them. It had never been used. So this is probably one of my 2 best buys I've had. All right, and then just to close out my top and my bottom, I did invest. I got these on sale. They're by Oakley. It's just a really good suspender set for my pants. My pants, like I said, they weigh 3.5 pounds. This sort of just distributes that weight a little better, makes them feel a little bit lighter. If you're only skiing in a resort and you're just going up the lift and going straight down, that's not going to bother you at all. But if you are trying to traverse it all on some of these big mountains out west, and you have to traverse uphill at all, or even side hill, having lighter gear would be better. So in the future, I do want to look at getting maybe a bib shell or something for next season. That's like my big purchase for next year, probably, from what I wear. Moving on, I think it's important to buy new gloves. I went through a bunch of gloves and I always had a sweating problem. And so I knew I probably needed to get something that was like leather, and I like the tactile feel of leather. So I got, you know, a Kinko 1927. These were $20. These Hefstra wrist savers, they cost like $8. This is a great glove. It looks really used. Every season I'll snow seal them one time, and that's really easy. I've had videos where I show you how to do that. You can look in the history. This year I did get a pair of the trigger mittens. These were $30. If your hands tend to get cold, these are awesome. And the nice thing with the trigger mitten, I think a lot of people are going to them because you have a little more dexterity, like with your pole and things like that. So it's just not a straight mitten that maybe a snowboarder would use. And again, you know, you're looking at $8 for, you know, never losing your gloves, which I think is important. So, you know, look at getting a pair of these. You can get Hefstras, and Hefstras will cost you $125, or you can get these, they're $20 to $30. So that's how much those cost. Balaclavas, I've had a lot of them. When I was younger, I used to have the turtle furs. I never liked that. I always got overheated, or they got collected a lot of like precipitation. I really like the Black Strap series balaclavas. It matches my jacket. This was $30, but most days I don't even wear it as a balaclava. I tend to knock it cold, except if something hits my neck. So this really protects my neck, and I pretty much always wear this, except for maybe really, really warm spring skiing if I'm doing that. But that's $30. The next thing, like I said, there's some things that you want to get brand new, and I think that this is something you want to get brand new. You want to get a helmet. I also think that there's a rule of thumb of like, hey, once you've had a crash, you can't use the helmet anymore. My son played football and he had a lot of big hits, and I think that you need to inspect the helmet and make sure that it's working. I think one thing that's important, you can't see it here because this sticker is covering it, but this is a MIPS helmet. You should only purchase MIPS helmets. I can do a video on MIPS, but basically it helps with rotational impact and making sure that your brain is safer, which is a good thing, and they don't have to cost you too much more money. I think the Ledge is around $100. I got it from a shop for like $10 because I bought a bunch of stuff in there. And so I had all these discount dollars. And so this was probably the best deal I've ever had. This will be my final season with this helmet. I have a new rule to myself, regardless of if there is major impact damage, I'm going to swap out my helmet minimum every 5 years. I think that that's a smart thing to do. You also want to keep it in a dry, warm place. You don't want to keep it in the garage where temperatures are changing and it can affect the plastic. But having a good helmet is really, really important. That's going to be safe. It doesn't have to cost you $300, but it's going to probably cost you more than $60 for a good helmet. But we want to have our brains work. The next thing is a goggle system. And why I say a goggle system is because I don't really believe that one lens rules them all. I don't think that's possible. If you follow my content, you know that I really like Dang. It's a small company out of Salt Lake City, American made or American produced. I really like these. This is like a lens that's designed for East Coast. It's like a green, I don't know. I'll put the name of it here. But then I also got the really dark black lens for dealing with like really good bluebird days. And then I have a white clear lens because I do a lot of night skiing. And if the snow conditions are just really kind of white out, the clear is great. But I think that everyone should have a lens system. The reason why I like these goggles is because they only cost $120. You get 2 lenses and they're magnetic. I think they're the cheapest magnetic goggles you're going to find. So we'll say $120 for goggles, for a goggle system. The next thing is you want to keep your boots warm, especially if you're on vacation. There's a lot of different systems out there. Dry Guy makes these. I got these for $20. I really recommend these. These are great. They just plug right into the wall. You throw them in your boots when you get back to the hotel, and by the morning, your boots are good to go, probably in just a few hours. If you're smart, you put your gloves on top of them or your mittens on top of them, and they get the excess, dry heat coming out, and then your gloves are warm also. It's really important that you do that. I could do a video on how to dry your boots. If you've had a really long day, it's probably good to take your liner out of the shell, wipe it down with a dry towel, and that'll get 80-90% of the moisture out of your boot right away instead of having to do it with these. But this is a really great thing to have. It doesn't take up a lot of space in your suitcase. I recommend this. So the last thing before I move on to my skis and my boots is this. What is this? So this is made by Rogue Fishing Company, and it's for my phone. So basically this clips into my pocket. I like to keep it up on my jacket pocket. I know some people like to put it down. Wherever you can clip this into would be helpful. But basically this prevents me from losing my phone anywhere, whether it's I forgot to zip my pocket or I drop it on the lift or whatever. It just gives me peace of mind. And there's like 4 points of contact. So even if one slips off, it's still going to work. And then you're like, oh, shoot. So if you like to check your Slopes app, or if you use the Carve system and you want to check your Carve on the lift, or you're adjusting your music, go ahead and get yourself one of these. This is $20. I think it's in my Amazon shop. This keeps you peace of mind, and it's a really good thing to have. So when I first got back into skiing 5 years ago, I did the worst thing you can do. I bought used boots. I bought a pair of Dalbello Pantera 90s. First of all, the boot was way too soft for me. I'm 6 foot. I weigh 235. Second of all, the boot was a mid-volume boot. I didn't know. I went to a really bad boot fitter. I didn't know that I needed a low-volume boot. So my feet were always warm, but it just caused a lot of other problems. I couldn't ski as aggressively as I wanted to. I would get weird pains and messed up my back and everything. So get a good boot. So last year when I was out in Utah, I went to a great boot fitter that doesn't sell boots. He just works on boots, and he puts people into the right mindset of what boot you should get. He did a full, digital you know, diagnostic of my foot, 3D imaging, everything. And he gave me like 3 boots to try, but it was late in the season. And I wear a 29.5. It's really hard to find that boot. So late in the season, I went to every shop I could find in the Salt Lake area. None of them had my boot in any of the sizes for any 3 of those boots. So I ended up going to over 15 shops, over 5 states to find these 3 boots. I did really like the Fisher RC4. The problem with that boot, it's like $1,100. It has the zip fit liner. It's an amazing boot. And I really wanted to buy it. I started kind of saving up money for it. I was going to buy that boot. But I still wanted to try these 3 boots on. This was one of those boots. This is the Nordica Pro Machine. It's a 120 flex, but I'll tell you that this flex feels very, very similar to the Fisher RC4, which is a 130 flex or like a 140 flex. So don't always go by the flex. You have to really try the boot on and understand it. But this is a low volume boot. This boot's been great. The only problem I've had was that my foot would get a little cold. So I ended up getting boot cap. So this was my other big expense this year. This was $60 with shipping. And then the boots, originally, I went from wanting the RC4, $1,100. And then I ended up deciding on this boot. I did find it in a shop. I was going to go back and buy it, but it was sold out by then. And it was probably a good thing because they wanted $600, which I was going to pay. I got this for with shipping on eBay, brand new. They just didn't have the box because this, I think, was the model they had in the store. So I got like a Lang box. With shipping, it was $243. I don't think you can beat that. Also, I don't think you should take boot fitters' time up if you're not going to buy things in the store or whatever. But if you know exactly what boot you're going to get and you just go in and say, hey, do you have this boot in this size? I just want to try it on. I don't need you to fit me or anything. You're not taking up any of their time, and they're more than happy to go in the back and grab a box. I think if you end up taking 30, 40 minutes of their time and not buying, I think that that's kind of where I draw the line on that. But you should be able to go try something on, even if you're not going to buy it that day, because it is a big investment. But this is the best investment you're going to make. Not my boot, but your boot. Every boot's a great boot. It just matters if it's a great boot for you. And then going on to my skis, I think that this is a really great all-mountain ski for me here on the East Coast getting back into skiing. Maybe I'd like something a little taller, so I'm 6 foot. I probably could go to maybe a 180, 182. But at 177, this ski does a lot for me. And I really like it. So this is the 9-bender TI-90. So it has the Titanal framing in it, which is better for a bigger guy like me. I like to drive my ski hard. I find that this ski does really good large GS turns. It's fun to kind of have that early morning large radius turn available. And then I can still do small turns as well. I have taken these skis out west multiple times and they perform great. Probably not the best thing to have in deep, deep powder, but I have been in deeper snow inside the trees and it was fine, had enough float. If you only can afford one ski, something in that 88 to 90 width radius is probably a really good ski. This thing I think has a 17 meter turn radius, so it's not ultra aggressive, but this ski can do a lot of things. I mean, it's slightly twin tipped. It has a decent amount of camber to it, and it's just a good overall ski to get back into skiing. And so there's no reason for me to have another ski than this ski unless I want to just extend my quiver. I got this with Griffin marker. You know, they go up to DIN 13 bindings. I set my DINs at like a 10. So these are totally fine by me. I got this ski with shipping. It was used. I got it for $318. That's a pretty good price. But I started going out west and I wanted something when the snow was really deep. And I was a little afraid to go like 110 and higher. So I went with this. This is a 105. This is a Pinnacle. So this Still has the Titanal framing or the Titanal framing that the Mindbender series has, but it's a little bit of an older ski. But it still performed really well for me the last few years. I've been trying to keep them in really good shape. I got this ski for $243 with a really garbage pair of Griffin marker demo bindings. Be really careful when you buy skis online that you get them checked out, especially the binding at a shop, because this could happen to you. So what happened here was the binding completely broke at the heel, and it was just like releasing me, and I just face planted because the ski released, and the snow was basically ice, and I luckily didn't break my nose, but it can be really bad. So I luckily had a buddy of mine who gave me these really great Salomon STH bindings for free. And then it cost me like $90 to mount them and get the skis all figured out. But I thought that, hey, under $300 for like a powder ski, I'm not going to use that much, is a pretty good deal. So all in all, I have a 2-ski quiver. This is my total price, but with just my 1-ski quiver, which I think most people can have in something like the 90 width, this is kind of the price you're at. And then the last thing is my poles. And I know a lot of people don't spend any money on poles, but I was out at Kirkwood, California, and I was out in one of the outer bowls, and I took a tumble, landed on my skis, went down, and I looked down at my ski, and my ski pole was totally dead. And I was like, oh, that's a bummer. And I just got sick of ski poles bending because I'm a bigger weighted guy, and I didn't want to deal with it. So Grass Sticks is a great company out of Steamboat, Colorado. These are obviously the bamboo is from like India, but they fully manufacture everything else, and they make everything here in the United States. It's a US based company, and they put a lot of care into their product. I love these poles. They make a kit to refurbish them, to kind of like put a new gloss on them, but I have taken some falls. These poles will bend. They have a great bend profile, and they're not going to break. They have a huge warranty on them as well. You can also get them in all different cool colors. You can get baskets in like blue and green and stuff. I think I've ordered some green baskets to kind of match my boots. And I just ordered some new straps that have the Wasatch Mountain Range, and it's like an artistic design. Kind of just flare things up. But these were 110. They do come with a basket that's a small one for like the East Coast, and then they do come with a powder basket for 110. But what I'll say is that I don't think I'm ever going to have to buy poles again. And these are surprisingly light. So I did get them a little bit longer. Like if I wanted to just practice mogul runs, I'd probably want to have a pole that's a little shorter. But if you're looking for something that's just a little bit different on the mountain, or you just don't want to have your pole bend ever, look at getting these. So all in all, this is what everything costs. But this is the interesting part. Let's look at what everything costs for how many days I put on the mountain with them. Okay, so first of all, these were 318, and I've skied this many days on mountain, and so the cost per day on mountain is pretty low. These poles were 110. I've skied this many days with these poles, and so this brings the pole cost per day down to this. So far, I've only skied 13 days on mountain with these boots, but this is what it costs today. And once I have put, say, 60 days on mountain, this is what the cost of this boot will be. Since I bought my jacket, I put this many days on my jacket, and so this is what the cost of the jacket every day is. The pants are going to be a laughing stock because I got these for $31, and since I've gotten these pants, I put this many days, And so this is how much my pants cost. My goggles are pretty new. Got them this season for a really good price at $89. And I put this many days on them, so this is how much the goggles cost. Once I put $60 on them, plus I bought another lens, we'll put that cost in at $34. This is how much it'll cost at 60 days. I put a lot of days on these gloves. They were $22. This is how much cost is on them now. So as you can see, when you're using things a lot and you're skiing more days, my goal is to hit 30 days a year. The most I've ever hit so far in the last 5 years is 25 days. So I'm not like Snowbrains or something who's skiing like every day of the year. But if you look at the cost from how many days you're using it, the same way with your pass, right? If you have an Epic Pass or an Icon Pass, you really want to look at not what the pass costs completely, but how many days you're using it. So if you look at that cost, maybe it's going to be easier to convince your significant other to go buy a new set of skis or something. But, oh, and then my helmet, we'll just say this helmet was $100 or $110. And then this is how many days I have with the helmet. And this is what the helmet costs per day. Okay, and so just the last thing I wanted to say before I close out this video is I didn't calculate in any of my base layers. They all came out to be about $82. With 88 days, that's like 90 cents. So I guess we can just boom, add 90 cents on there. So you could see when you break it down what this all costs. I think it's a good way to look at how much it costs to get all your gear. Obviously, you can go about it slowly. A lot of the things you're not going to need right away. Maybe you have an old pair of ski pants or you already have a jacket. Over time, you accumulate. Obviously, you know, this season I bought new boots. I bought a new set of goggles. I mean, they were a gift from my wife, but I mean, we share money, so I'm saying that, you know, even if I gifted it to myself, it's still something I bought. So my point is that obviously this number would be a lot lower if I, you know, had 60 days on my boots, if I had 60 days on my goggles, and I'll get there. You know, this number will come down. So this number will fluctuate. You know, it'll come down as you use things more and more. And obviously, if I wanted to go out and buy a brand new pair of skis, that number's going to climb way back up. But, you know, if you take care of everything you own, you can really do this on, it's a very expensive sport. But there are ways in order to ski economically. Now, I'm not saying that skiing is ever going to cost the same as maybe if you just want to run in your neighborhood and you only have to buy a pair of shoes, but it doesn't have to necessarily break the bank. You know, you don't need to have the $1,400 Stokely skis. You don't even need to necessarily have brand new skis. Again, what I would say, if you're going to buy things brand new, I would buy a brand new helmet. I would always buy brand new boots. I would buy a brand new pair of gloves. And bindings, some people only buy new bindings so that they know for sure. But if your bindings are indemnified, so what that means is that they are a binding that ski shops will still work on. You can get them tested. Usually it's between $10 and like $25 to get your boot tested in the binding to make sure that at your DIN setting, they're releasing properly, and they're going to look at the binding, make sure there's no cracks or there's no damage to the binding. And then they'll, in a sense, recertify them, right? So if that's the case and you have a indemnified binding, then you can buy a used binding. Some people will feel safer. Anything that deals with safety, some people always want to buy brand new. I can't say that that's a bad idea. So hopefully this helped. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. And have a great time on the mountain.